Greetings, my fellow freedom loving sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to L3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy Mango, South Florida, and today's date is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. Groundhog Day, right? Well, it's supposed to be 6 more weeks of winter, supposedly. Oh well, that's how it goes. I'm not even worried about it. I just get a nice little laugh. Yeah, there was a horrific event that happened in Sunrise, Florida. 2 FBI agents were killed. They were doing a raid on someone that's involved in child pornography. Looks like the suspect took his own life as well. It is disheartening regardless what happens. All these tragedies and so forth do occur. But sometimes you always got to look at ourselves, our moral compass. That is essential. They were born. We have to be raised that way and share it, emulate it, share it with others, or implement. That would be the term to use. And I was reading that. I was got this one article. It was very interesting. It was came from the Activist Post, but it was originally from the freethoughtproject.com. This is an interview of an officer who took his own life yesterday. So this is by Matt Agorist. This was entitled "Cops Chilling Suicide Note Calls for Unity Between Left and Right, Ending Drug War and Racist Policing." It's in Lafayette, Louisiana. For the last 2 decades, Deputy Clyde Kerr III has spent his life serving others in law enforcement and the military. He is not your run-to-the-mill officer, as Kerr obtained a degree in criminal justice before entering service and has received multiple commendations over the years. He also frequently spoke out about injustice, the drug war, and police accountability. He was one of the good ones. On Monday, Kerr's public service came to an end, and so did his life. This story is particularly heavy for me, as I personally knew Clyde Kerr. He was a resource officer at my daughter's school and a great guy all around. I felt a prudent gesture to share with the world why Clyde walked out in front of the Lafayette Sheriff's Department on Monday and took his own life. It is what he wanted. Sadly, however, he left behind a hole in the community, and as he was a father and adored by so many children, a much-needed voice of reason in so much turmoil. Clyde Kerr was a good cop. Unfortunately, the system is set up in a way that drives good cops from its ranks. Before going to work yesterday, Kerr recorded a video suicide note to let the world know why he did what he did. I can no longer serve a system that doesn't give a damn about me or people like me. With a calm yet deliberate tone, Clyde described the broken system he has been part of for nearly 2 decades. He left nothing off the table, mentioning Botham Jean, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Trayford Perlin, who was killed in Lafayette. Clyde described how cops can kill and face very little consequences. He then went on call for an end to the drug war, lambasting the fact that police will kidnap, cage, and kill people for a plant. The countless people who are doing time for the war on drugs, how do you make amends for that? Clyde said rhetorically, You can't. It feels right to you as a person that something is wrong with you, he said. Y'all are radicalizing people, and then when they get upset and end up going against the system, you come down on them with a hammer. Clyde then goes to describe how the job policing needs to change, specifically in regards to mental health. His death is a chilling reminder of his dire need. You have only one psychological evaluation as a cop, and that is when they hire you. This is not enough, he said. We need at least an annual every 6 months, or maybe even quarterly. The stigma on this needs to top. For the second half of the video, just hours before he would end his own life. Clyde lists a number of solutions that he says could fix so many of the problems. He started out saying police need better training in regards to dealing with the public. Just because this job is difficult, he says it doesn't mean you get to be a monster. He then called for society to come together and put aside their political differences. So many people in this country are so caught up of whether they are Republican or Democrat that they forgot how about to be a decent human being. In the follow-up video, Clyde assured people that he's not crazy or on drugs, and that he feels that this act of self-immolation is necessary to change the paradigm within the system. He took his own life to attempt to change the system and drove him to this point. I know what people will say, but I am my right state of mind. I don't need to do this to protest this broken system. If I don't do this, who will, he said. Hopefully we make sure Clyde's death is not in vain and people heed his advice. While we certainly do not advocate for self-harm, Clyde clearly felt like this was the only way he could force change. If people really care about cops, then it's incumbent upon them to focus on the words Clyde says below. The public must realize the dire situation and extreme scope of the mental health epidemic currently facing law enforcement. There's an extreme high rate of suicide and domestic violence crisis, as much as a high rate of addiction in policing than the general public. It clears that the mental health issues affecting law enforcement should be a top priority. If we hope to stem the numbers of citizens and cops being killed by police in America. In an interview with Free Thought Project, former police LAPD officer Alex Salazar pointed out why many of his friends ended their own lives. This is what it says here. People are tired of being killed by these cops. They operate with a gang-like mentality similar to the military, and that they are pawns in a larger game, but pervasive themselves as warriors for a righteous cause. Cops often turn to suicide after they lost control of their personal lives. They are taught to be control freaks and to always be in control, and it often ends in tragedy. When I was at LAPD, I had at least 6 partners and supervisors, including who ate their guns. Salazar said that suicides are not only problems caused by this mentality. On the TFTP podcast, Salazar pointed out that many cops have PTSD, and symptoms from stress causes them to act out violently against the citizens they are tasked with policing. This is exactly what Clyde was talking about. Like Clyde, we wanted to purge this critical sickness from U.S. policing in an effort to make the streets a safer place for citizens and police alike. We need to start looking at this increased rate of officer suicides and realize the underlying problems attributing to them. If we can correct those problems, the cop shooting citizens rate may start to fall too. According to other experts in the field, cumulative exposure to trauma, horrific accidents, and shootings can lead to mental health struggles that too often go untreated. A report by Blue Help, which is HELP, reveals the rate of PTSD and depression for police and firefighters is 5 times higher than the civilian population. Clyde wants this to change by getting mental help to be a part of the police department. Critics believe the lack of resources for mental health also adds to lives being lost. Clyde is a perfect example. Mental health experts have echoed the sentiment of Clyde in the videos below, saying the barrier that keeps officers from seeking help are shame, fear of being off the job, and the stigma behind it. Perhaps cops were better trained at dealing with their own mental health issues. They'd be less likely to kill those similar problems, and this pillar of the community would still be alive today. pushing for change with his life rather than his death. If you know a police officer who is experiencing this, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can be reached at 1-800-273-8255. Police officers can also text the word BLUE to 741741 or simply text TALK to 741741. I've seen both these interviews, both these presentations, what the late Deputy Kerr has done. And it's very disturbing indeed. They're like rank and file when it comes to being a governmental delegate. Have a stepfather who was an officer, deputy, and DE agent. Him and I have real good discussions when it comes to matters like I addressed here. He was spiritually strong, has a moral compass, and he did care on his job. He hated dirty officers. He really did. Some of them got theirs for screwing around, embezzling money, doing fictitious reports, etc. But he always stood his ground. And what's been happening, based on my homework, even reading stuff from sorry about that. Dale Carson, Arrest-Proof Yourself. They're treating peace officers as deputies of Nottingham, revenue collecting bods, or whores, I would say. And they're getting trained more aggressively. See how many people they can arrest for their quotas. And of course, more centralization. Homeland Security funding money to the local police department, surpluses, a la riot gear, militarization. Everyone's a number. I remember many years ago, after September 11th, when they announced Homeland Security, I boldly opposed it in good faith. And now look what's been happening. Even with the FTAA function down in Miami in 2003. Many of my fellow union brothers witnessed some crazy things. Of course, you had plants and provocateurs trying to stir up trouble, and everyone got handcuffed, thrown under the highways, plastic straps, working class people, elderlies. Had a late union brother trying to do his job, and they treat him as a criminal. It is just a disturbing example of a science they call cause and effect. And I have to agree with him in a lot of areas, ending the drug war. Because it does affect racial policing. Yeah. Now it's a became a ripple effect. Everyone became a victim of police brutality or tyranny in this particular field. I believe in a form of defunding by ending federalization, federal grants from Homeland Security. Yes, I do support that. I like to see our fellow officers become peace officers, not revenue generators, revenue collecting generators. Okay, so Victimless crime laws. It's getting ludicrous as well. A lot of them don't even know about the law. That's essential. You know the law the best you can. And even the neighbors, the people in that community, have to have a moral compass too. The family structure. They're trying to destroy the nucleus of the family, the state, and their lackeys. That has to be done honorably. Love thy neighbor. Absolutely. And he was a young man too. I think he was like 40. He was 43. Had a family, but couldn't handle it. And many people in this occupation is not alone. This is why when I have if I ever have a debate with an officer in the courts and all that, it's all on principle. That's it. No bitterness. Not hating them or his entire brotherhood or the department. Vindication, malice, animosity is everywhere. And we have to minimize it to the best of our abilities. I'm not saying it's easy or simple. I see some of these officers are pulling people over for bogus reasons. People got to know their rights as well. Now we got technology. Use it. Don't say, oh, you got to get away with it. And other thing too, my friends, especially in the family structure, whatever you do, try to handle more things internally instead of bringing the police in. I see people call the cops for, I know there's reports of people calling the police for stupid, most pettiest things. Treat them as human beings. And the question I have, how about the union in his department? I'm not representing that. I'm not questioning. Remember, as a union member, you're something as a human being, not some dish rag. Supposed to be on principles. Well, it's a real shame what happened to the late Clyde Kerr III. So before you going around saying all cops are bastards, witch hunting, collective witch hunting, you need to take a look in the mirror before pointing out to them. And that's vice versa. To the officers that have that mindset of collecting brownie points. You better start thinking critically. And honor your oath the best you can. That's for everyone else that in the community as well. We all have obligations. We have to toss our disagreements and have a honorable discussion. I know how it is getting tussled and have a firearm pointed at me from an officer. Happened to me. But it was a mistaken identity, and I was very cordial. Well, the funniest thing was that I was going to the supermarket and all hell broke loose in my neighborhood, and they had a rough, basic description. Yep, I've been profiled, and I was a white guy. I'm a white guy, okay? So you don't hear me complaining to the police. Now, I haven't been, seriously injured, so. However, he did apologize. Looked at his wedding ring and apologized to me. Forgave him. Because, remember, they have a basic description doesn't mean they're going to get their suspects all the time. They make errors as well. So try sometimes to be a little neighborly with them now and then. And don't be wrong, It's okay to be vigilant. If they ask you questions, what's the nature of the investigation, do it with love and finesse. It's good to have your cameras handy, too. I'm not knocking that at all. Technology is very good. Vigilance is great, and being neighborly is just as effective. May his soul be forever free, Deputy Clyde Curr III, and all the other officers that lost their lives. Even the ones who were killed in the line of duty. And that will be it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnote of this article on my speaker page. You can hit the link. There's links for the podcast, for Salazar, the videos from the late Deputy Kerr. The third is very passionate and heartbreaking, too. And I recommend you look at everything there. And if you want to contact me, you can hit me at LokiLuck03 at protonmail.com. Furthermore, if you want to donate, you can hit me at paypal.me or cash.app/LokiLuck3. Just inform you, folks, I'm trying to get that resolved with PayPal, my PayPal account. So if not, just hit me at cash.app. It's ready to go, all right? And if you want to do a donation to Activist Post and the Free Thought Project, I encourage you to do so. And that's all. We're all in this here in the name of principle to spread that message. All right, once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. May your guardian spirits be with you.